Did we just lose?
I was the
Bro.
last death. The dude was literally looking at me. He did not revive me.
I
Not even
literally
my
just
fault.
took 3 down. Oh, what? Okay.
Someone's next to you. Bottom right.
Knife!
You there?
Knife!
You there?
Oh my god. Good one, Lance.
Oh, wait, no, you didn't die.
I get into an enemy tank. I'm like right behind one.
What the hell? Bro, kamikaze in him! This guy cannot drive. Lies.
I'm going up. I ran someone over.
Need to reverse.
Behind us! Behind us!
Oh, that guy.
Behind me.
Oh my god.
Ah!
I only see a head. I recommend you to turn a little bit left.
Oh my god!
What am I doing? I'm driving?
Oh!
What?
Got hit with a friggin' bazooka.
Yeah, watch
Wow.
this, guys. Use this. Cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, back on, boys. No excuses.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me get Leo. I can't get Leo. I'm driving. Okay, time to drive.
Get Leo. Did you get Leo?
No.
I left him. I'm sorry. I don't want to die. Behind us. Hold on. I need to turn around. I'm sorry. Oh
Smash
hell
from
no.
the
I'm
roof.
out. There's like 3 little boxes.
Oh, wait.
And then when you're
I
next
see.
to one,
That-
you can hold
yes.
next and
Please, please, best squad, please. Please. Yeah, let's go.
Really, your best squad?
And there's no Lance.
God damn it! That's so frustrating! Oh, and now I get to join. Can we just take F already?
Fuck this guy, bro. Literally playing a shotgun hiding in the corner. Rushing you?
Make it
I
Hold
don't
on.
know, he was when I was still
Sing, 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 sing.
I'm about to beat the shit out of this tank if we can sign him, bro. So,
Sing, sing, sing. Sing, 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 sing,
He's still
sing.
alive. Oh,
oh, hand me over.
Oh shit! It's falling down! It's falling down!
Is there a way to...
Literally bomb where that tank is, bro.
What the fuck am I doing in that tank?
what the fuck? Jesus.
So
Guys,
stupid, though. There's
don't
no
look at my
to push
thing.
from.
Don't look at my thing.
What's up,
Hey,
cuz?
Gilly. How are you?
Come here!
There's so many dead
Oh.
people.
God damn it.
She, bro.
Bruh! Oh, ho, ho. Oh,
Oh my
this is
god.
like a...
I'm clipping. Call artillery.
Bruh.
For a grenade, you should die. Dumbass.
For some reason.
Oh,
Rotted as hell.
I love that.
She's like,
What? Dean, you're not Batman.
How did I look? I got it. I might need some up stuff. Otherwise
cheating.
mine killed me.
that nice try to run me over.
And it did not die.
Don't worry, guys. We're on the way. It'll take some time.
What's that? They need bombing, guys.
No! No!
The tank's pretty low, guys.
Oh my god. This guy, you're under the tank. I can't get to you. This guy just ran you over. I think we got best squad though.
No. Got some guys on my other team. 12k. Oh, I got 14k now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
My glasses aren't even on my face. Oh, there you go.
Just on the radar thing.
Yeah, see all those people just looking at us.
Okay, I'm sniped.
You know?
Oh, I'm getting people.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
nice.
Oh my god.
I would push, let's push though, let's push though.
Damn, bro. 27 kills, 3 deaths,
Shut up, tank boy.
and what? No one was using it.
That's us! We're best
That's us.
squad!
Oh!
We're best squad!
Let's go.
I don't know.
Top rank 37. Let's go. Oh, so easy. Easy. Oh, I love the tank so
And
much.
we're best
Oh,
squad. Again.
best.
Tank is literally right next to my body, so I died.
Okay. I'm exploding it. I come
We're dead,
from
bro.
afar.
We're gonna die here.
How do I get my melee out?
That's a lot of dead people in front of us. A lot of people on every side.
Oh, fuck you, Wang. Let's go see.